Getting started in dancing is actually really easy. You just need to call up your local school, check online, see where there are places that offer the dance. Usually you have two choices. You can either take a private lesson, which would be just you or you and your partner and an instructor. And that's usually a 1-hour session and you just get 100% attention. Or you can do group classes, so you're going to learn in a group of other people who are all at roughly the same level as you and the instructor, and that's usually less expensive. It's done on a particular night of the week at a particular time and for particular amounts, different sessions lengths. So private lessons is obviously better in some sort. It's more refined, it's specifically tailored to you. You can probably learn a lot faster. But there's a lot of fun in the group classes because you get to meet other people, interact with other people. You find that there's other people in the community that are interested in dancing the same as you. So it's really simple to get started. You just have to make that decision that you're going to do it and do it.
Yeah, so let me know how you started dancing.
I've always been passionate about movement and moving and rhythm, and a few years ago I was presented this opportunity of following my passion in that sense, and I met Tom Seltzer, who's now in Chilliwack teaching.
Okay.
So I actually started with two-step country dancing.
So did I. Yeah.
Funny enough, at the chorale, at the iconic chorale a few years ago. And then once I got into dance and met different people in the dance world, I met Warren and got introduced to Latin dance, and that was it. I was done.
Okay.
I found out, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And then I have been in the world of Latin and ballroom dancing for quite a few years. Did some competitions, traveled to several different places in different dance communities, and then just recently I discovered Kizomba and absolutely fell in love with it.
Definitely when I started, and I think especially for somebody going out to lead, you're thrown into a situation where you know very, very little. You might have had one, maybe two classes, and then they're like, well, go dance with people. And you're like, well, I only know a couple steps. I'm not good. Nobody will want to dance with me. But after you kind of get over that at the beginning, that fear, you realize that people are just happy you're there. And they're excited to dance with you, and they're excited to tell you everything that they know and share with you. And yeah, at the beginning, maybe you don't get quite as many dances as the good dancers, but that was also okay because I needed breaks to watch and to like regain my confidence. And over time, you just start talking to more and more people. And soon, especially in our local community, you get to know everybody.
Dancing is not easy for everyone. Some people can't hear the music or feel the beat. And I always use this one gal as an example, and she knows that I use her as an example. She cannot hear music and she cannot hear the beat, but she has become a pretty good follow. Just don't look at her feet because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But if she's being led in a dance, she can follow turning or moving around the floor. And she's become very, very good. So if you persevere, you can dance.
Right, but what I found was intriguing was my confidence in terms of how secure I felt with my partner kind of diminished at first because I'm like, oh shoot, I messed up. Oh, she might have noticed. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, so every kind of mistake, I kind of felt self-conscious about, and it took a little bit of training, and it's still taking training to kind of not say sorry as much and kind of get better at it. And I think honestly, it's as my musicality has improved with the different styles, I found that my confidence has also gotten better because it's not just like I'm surviving through a song, it's now more that I'm interpreting and communicating with that song. And in that kind of sense, when you have a conversation, it's okay to mess up, any interaction, people mess up, they're sometimes awkward, but you still have a fun conversation and you still laugh at the end, right? So it's better now, but it was definitely a little bit challenging before. So yeah.
My hope is that someone can come out the first day and they don't know anything and they're just having fun with it and enjoying it and can enjoy the learning process and the silliness of feeling like you don't know what you're doing. But it is nice to be progressing and improving. How have you found that as far as a balance? Like I found when I was able to let go a bit for myself, too much worry about the performance side. Like I still always want to improve, but I found it allowed me to just enjoy it more and have fun with it. How's that kind of all worked out with you?
Oh, like about new people joining the dance community, I love it.
I just wanted to go out and have fun and enjoy it, but also wanting to still improve and get better. But that can sometimes be disappointing. Yeah.
Well, when I first started taking formal dance lessons, that was what I mean. Almost every person does that. You know, look around and go, "Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that." You know, that person looks so good. And my advice for newcomers would be: don't look at that. Just look at your own performance. It's a process. It takes a while for a person to be able to, you know, you gotta walk first before you run. So you know, I was discouraged by that a couple of times, and my advice for newcomers would be: don't get discouraged. Look at your own performance. Look at your own homework. You look at what you need to practice on. You need to focus on, and stay. Yeah.
I just thought we're not getting paid for this, so we can just try to have fun with the process of it.
Absolutely.
Keep on trying to move forward, but can enjoy it along the way. So.
It's so much fun.
Let's start with follows. You mentioned that follows sometimes have to wait their turn for dancing, and that is an unfortunate reality, one that we try to work on all the time, but ladies seem to gravitate to dance much more quickly, and maybe that's just the way our culture is here. But I think in Kelowna, we've worked really hard to balance it out through either training follows or ladies to lead. So we have a very good amount of follows that can lead really well, and that will take that on if there's an imbalance of male leads there, or just leads in general. So that's one way we combat that. For follows, I always tell them here, especially, I say, you know, you don't have to wait necessarily for the man or for the lead to ask you for a dance. Get out there and ask for dances too. And I know not everybody wants that. It's always nice to be asked, but I will tell you that in our communities, when we go somewhere and you get into a big room and it's very intimidating, and there's really high-level dancers there, if you want to dance with them, they'll be asked all night by other people, so you better be able to get in there and ask. So that's the key thing. Or just if you're not comfortable asking, being aware of when you're standing on the side, what your body language is communicating. So for example, if you're sitting down, you're less likely to be asked than if you're standing up. If you're standing up and moving like you're enjoying the music, you're more likely to be asked. And the closer you are to the dance floor and the people, the less the lead has to travel from the floor to you to pick you up to dance. So there's lots of things you can do to improve your chances. For the leads, I think everybody has their different reasons to join dancing. But truly, I think a really strong lead is not discouraged by asking any level of person to dance. You'll get a lot out of dancing with a beginner and seeing how you lead them and how smoothly you can get them through different things and how much you can take them through.
Yes. So in my group classes, we get in the habit of saying leads and follows now. So traditionally, 20 years ago, men lead, ladies follow. Of course, that's out the window now. Both people can lead and both people can follow. So we really are trying to make aware that it's leads and follows now. So if you're a leader, so you can be female, male, doesn't matter, you have a little bit more responsibility. I usually like to say it takes 3 times as long for leads to learn as follows, because they're kind of directing what's going on, especially socially. So they have to think of what they're going to do, their posture, they have to lead it, they have to think of the rhythm, they have to do this all in split seconds and for 3 or 4 minutes in a row. The followers, on the other hand, have to make sure that they make themselves a very good follower. And that's by, of course, having their frame proper, knowing the rhythm, they have to move their own feet, they need to accept the information that's being given to them, understand what's supposed to happen, and then make that happen and do that on their own. So it really is 50-50, it's just that we have different roles. The lead decides what and when, and the follow has to then make that happen. So it's real teamwork.
Few of us, we learn to lead. So we're basically gender neutral. We're called lead and follows, not boys and girls or men and women, because you can have two women in a class and all the others are men that are leading, right? And over the years, I have learned to lead quite a number of dances, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think I like being in control. A lot of women at social dances will actually come up and ask me to dance because there's a lack of men. Some men will only dance with certain women, either their girlfriend or their spouse, or women they know can dance. They don't want to maybe dance with a beginner. And so women will quite often come up to me and say, will you do this dance? Now, there are some dances that I don't lead. So sometimes I say, no, sorry, I don't lead this particular dance.
Yeah. So for newcomers, my hope would be that they would be impressed by the dance community. Um, they would absolutely fall in love with dance, whatever genre it is that they would start with, and know that they have a lot of options, and just continue on and connect with the community, talk to the people, ask questions, show up at different genre classes. We have dances at the Rotary Center for Arts. There are dance classes at Kerry Road and German Club and the French Cultural Club. There, we have in the summertime Tuesday nights are free dancing in Kelowna, in the park overlooking the water. Try different things. Ask a billion questions. Keep coming back. We'll be there for you.
So when I was, in terms of comparison between what I used to know and then what I grew to love, was that when I was doing hip hop and popping, yeah, it was a little bit for me, but it kind of got to a point where it was more performative and it was for others, and I was performing for people and I was on stage, and that was okay, but that wasn't really bringing me joy anymore. But I found my joy in dancing again when I started with partner dancing, because I found that it was more of a communication between two people and less to do with how I look for somebody else. I still get nervous about how I look for my partner, but I found that it was more about just having a good conversation, having a good time, laughing about it, and just having a good vibrance of life.
Yeah.
How have you felt for kind of issues between men and women, like leads and follows, kind of in the dance community?
There is a huge, there's a lot of fear around leading and the expectations of a leader, and we're hoping to soften that up in our community. I didn't want to lead for the longest time. And then just recently, only about a year ago, maybe not even, I decided that I was going to start learning how to lead. And I understand dance more than I ever did before. And I understand why leads have so much fear of being a lead, especially most guys being in the position of leading, not so much anymore, but mostly guys, I'd say 70 to 80% of it, is the responsibility of, oh my God, what if I screw this up? What if I can't lead properly? What if I stumble? What if I do the wrong thing? My message to those guys would be like, what if you do the wrong thing? What if?
Yeah.
You just correct it. You learn from your mistakes. It's just like everything else in life. We do something, we make a mistake, we learn from it, we grow from it. That's why I always say dance is life.
Yeah, I often think that if we can communicate that kind of a vibe and take some of the pressure out of it, because I often think that if we get more men in, or more leads in, the follows will just automatically kind of happen, because it is like just the ratio, it is typically higher for follows, lower for leads. And then they don't have to wait around.
That's not a new thing.
So
It's a true thing in every dance genre that I have ever danced. There's always more follows than leads, and that's because of the general
extra pressure.
This fear about. Another thing I always like to say in these interviews is, dance teaches you life, because you got to get to the brass tacks. You you've got to be okay with vulnerability. You've got to be okay with being humble. Because the things that I've learned in dance from all these beautiful people who've taught me dance, I didn't know. And I had to be okay with being vulnerable and saying, okay, I don't know this. You know, break it down to all the basics and start from scratch. And that's okay. But you gotta be okay with being vulnerable. You gotta be okay with looking foolish, and not foolish, but goofy. You gotta be okay with, I don't know this and I have to learn it. And it's so much work. You gotta be okay with that. You gotta be dedicated and, you know, go after it. And when you come out the other side, oh my God, it's so good. The rewards are incredible.
Yeah, so for new people, what I would really suggest is trying out a few beginner classes. Go to different things, honestly. Just because I like a particular style, I'm not gonna recommend that you do that style, right? I'm gonna say, go ahead, check out as many different things as you can. Really see the kind of things that stick with you and the things that work with what you jive with, what you feel natural with. In terms of the music, in terms of like what you're picking up, right? And then once you maybe have like one style of dance a little bit more developed, then try going into other styles. And yeah, just like go slowly from there. We have fantastic online resources now through the KSBK. We have a monthly calendar. You can see what's going on there. But besides that, I would say just fundamentally that would be my biggest advice is like try different things, see what sticks, and then build up from there.
Well, I think it's like people that start any hobby. You know, you try it out, and after a while, either it doesn't, you don't find out that it's not your thing. I've never had that situation, to be honest, with ballroom and Latin dancing. Usually, it's because someone was sort of maybe dragged in, didn't really want to be there in the first place, so that can be an issue. But I mean, I've tried to go to the gym, start going to the gym. I promise I'm going to go every week, and then I trail off and so forth. So it's about integrating it into your weekly habit. And until you get into that sort of habit, it's easy to trail off. We've got a lot of opportunities here in the Okanagan, especially with skiing and golfing and boating and hiking. I mean, we're just really spoiled here. So sometimes I found in smaller communities or in communities where winter is, you know, they don't have ski hills, world-class ski hills right next to them like Edmonton. Dancing's a lot more popular because it's indoors and it's warm and there's not much else to do. So it kind of just depends on where you are. I just think here in the Okanagan, we're really spoiled with a lot of different hobbies. So maybe the ballroom dancing isn't as high up there yet.
But another group of people, we were all kind of at the same level, and Deb would start to teach us another lesson before the regular lesson, and then we would become helpers. And it just evolved from then. She'd offer a class in cha-cha or nightclub two-steps.
People are different. Everybody's different. Some people just like pick it up and run with it, and it's nothing. And for some people, it takes a little bit longer to get the concept, to get the feel of dance movements, and connect with their own bodies and their own capabilities and what they're capable of, what they're able to do. For me, it was a challenge. I would take dance lessons and I would go away. I would take dance lessons and I would go away. Mainly because, for me, my experience was because there was nowhere to go to dance, to practice. We had very few places to go, and they didn't happen very often. Now we have a lot more places for people to go and dance and practice what they've learned. So personally, it took me a while to get into the groove of things, but that's because of lack of resources at the time. Now there's so much in our little town and in all the little neighboring towns too. So,
tips for people who are new or somebody who's just starting out.
I would highly recommend, if you're just starting out and you don't know the first thing, take private lessons to start with. Okay. It's worth the money. Because when you're in a group, the teachers don't have time to go around to every couple and a lot of couples, when they come to classes, they stick with each other. They won't move around.
Yeah.
A lot of teachers rotate around the room, so you dance with a different person. I would highly recommend that, because if you've got a bad habit and you're dancing with your partner, the same partner all the time, you're never going to correct those bad habits. And
Yeah.
it's social dancing, so you should be social.
Yeah. I'll often try to encourage follows to not only follow the steps that the lead is trying to communicate, but actually try to follow the rhythm that the lead is dancing with. So they would relax and try to lag just slightly behind whatever beat the lead happens to be on. So this can feel slow to them, but there is actually something going on musically which will affect how they're feeling in the sense of that communication. How this works is that every beat actually has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you see it on a waveform, like we do when we're recording, see that the beats, it's not an instant moment in time. The beats are landing over a space, and you see the wave up, and you see the peak, and then you see the wave down. So when we're dancing or when we're clapping, we tend to try to aim towards the middle of that beat, or sometimes towards the front of that beat. But if both parties are landing right in the middle of that beat, that really doesn't allow much time for the lead to communicate to the follow the directionality of the dance. What happens usually is that the lead will try to move ahead in the rhythm just to give them a little bit more time to communicate to the follow the directionality or where they're trying to go. And of course, if the follow is hanging out towards the front of the beat, this feels a little bit awkward for the lead, because then the lead can actually be going like completely in front of the beat in order to give them that space. So I wouldn't say make a rule to lag at the end of the beat, but I would say it is a good thing if you can be trying to move in a relaxed kind of a pace so that you can really feel the direction of where the lead is trying to take. Sometimes it's awkward if the follow actually gets ahead of me, and so say you're coming from one side and you're heading towards the neutral, and the follow is already starting to move to the side again, but you want to take them back. If you do, they're going to be already started to go towards the side, and it's almost like you're stopping them and then moving them to the back. But if the follow is actually hanging out just behind them with the beat, you'll come to that neutral point, and then you'll take them to the back, and they'll move there like when they feel that you're actually moving them there, rather than just anticipating it and moving in a direction before they actually get a signal. There is one extra reason why this is something that I think is a positive thing, or good to try to make into a habit. And that's because some music will actually allow you to have some room in it to play with the rhythm of the music. Just like I would play with the rhythms inside guitar solos, in that you can aim towards to be right at the beginning of the beat and leg into the second beat, or you can try to kind of pause through the first beat and then just come in right at the end of the first beat. There's all kinds of different interesting musical things we can do, which musicians do all the time, and those can be added to the dance if the follow is doing that, where they are really kind of hanging out behind the lead and following the rhythm of the lead, including stopping and pausing and everything else.
But I was not presented with that opportunity growing up in Iran during the time that I was growing up in Iran. So as soon as I was presented with that opportunity, I was looking for it, but then, I bumped into it. As soon as I had the opportunity, I jumped on that train.
What was your kind of initial impressions when you first started?
I thought it was gonna be a really easy thing for me, because I've always been dancing. I've always been I've always loved motion and creation and art, and it was a challenging surprise when I first started taking dance lessons, because I thought, oh, this is great, because I'm good at this, I can do it. And then when I started taking dance lessons, I found out it's not that easy, that it takes dedication and effort and work and practice and focus to really learn the art. So,
Did anything surprise you about it, kind of going into those first lessons?
yeah, that was a big surprise. Like I said, I mean, I have to be in close proximity with another human being, creating something beautiful, looking good while doing it. I felt goofy at first, but you know, it didn't take very long that I absolutely was completely dedicated and loved every moment of it. Yeah.
For the leads, I think everybody has their different reasons to join dancing. But truly, I think a really strong lead is not discouraged by asking any level of person to dance. You'll get a lot out of dancing with a beginner and seeing how you lead them and how smoothly you can get them through different things and how much you can take them through.
There are, just like anything else in life, you know, you try to learn skiing or soccer or hockey. There are times where you get discouraged, and there are times that you go, ooh, I'm awesome. There are times you go, I don't know if I'm ever going to learn this, and other times where you go, whoa, I really love this, and I'm going to put everything into it, and I'm going to learn everything about it. Stick around. Stick around. There's lots to learn. There are tough times. Talk to your peers, talk to your instructors, talk to your people, the people in the dance community, and just, yeah, keep coming back.
When I'm on a mic, yo, rip up the bass. My DJ is live in the place. I'm on a mic with my lyrical flow. I like it when the bass line's low. I'm on a mic with my lyrical flow. I like it when the bass line's low.